Hey everyone, I wanted to make this video about your journal assignment and then also kind of give you an overview of like your major projects that are for this course, just to avoid any kind of confusion or anything that you may have questions on and give you a guideline of what an exemplary journal assignment looks like. So as I said before in the welcome video, journal is kind of a loose term here. This is more of an essay assignment that you really need to put a lot of time and effort into. And I promise that if you put a lot of time and effort into this, then your milestone 3, milestone 5, and final milestone will go a lot smoother. And it also kind of avoids the beginning of like not doing so well and panicking because you think, oh my God, I failed this journal assignment. I'm gonna fail the course. Um, First of all, that's not true. I've had plenty of people who struggled with the journal assignment and even milestone 3 go on to do really well in this course. So don't panic. Remember that we want this to be a learning experience. I'm not looking, for perfection or anything, and you should not try to be perfect. So just keep that in mind. We're all here to learn. So the first thing is that the journal assignment is a document, is a Word document. So it should be about 2 to 3 paragraphs, and you have to use 2 credible sources. So what that means is that you're going to need to, you can use your textbook, or you can use credible websites to support some of the things that you talk about. So the first section is you have to pick a large scale environmental issue that affects you personally. So you need to really think about an environmental problem that you encounter in your daily life and your daily activity, and maybe even something that you are contributing to. That will become important later in your milestone, which we're going to kind of go look at after this. The second thing is that you introduce this topic by thoroughly explaining why this is a pressing issue. This is the section that you're going to need to cite credible sources for to support that, it is a pressing issue in your area. You're going to discuss how this issue impacts you personally and one local or regional problem associated with the issue. Now, I have given you some ideas that you can choose from. You're not limited to these ideas, but in order to avoid any kind of confusion, I've had people pick water pollution, right? They're like, okay, that's a large scale issue. However, they start naming off every single water pollutant that is in their area, and you don't want to do that. You want to identify what is the specific pollutant that is harming your town or your local wildlife. So it doesn't have to be human centric. It can be something that's just affecting the wildlife, but you want to focus on just one. Air pollution, same thing. You want to identify one specific air pollutant. Is it sulfur dioxide? Is it nitrogen dioxide? Is it particulate matter? Other issues, climate change is a pretty popular one that people choose because it's just so rampant in our life right now. And the problem with climate change, it's a great topic to do, is that people try to do too much. So they're like, oh yeah, climate change is causing fires and hurricanes in my area. I'm going to talk about both of those. Don't do that. Just pick one because it gets really overwhelming. And then in later milestones, it gets really confusing. Species extinction. If you want to pick a species that's going extinct in your area, great. Just focus on one species. So that's the most important thing, is to kind of drill down to the most, one factor. If you try to do something that's really large, it can be really difficult. And what ends up happening is that your grade doesn't go so well with that, and you're unhappy, and I get angry emails. So just try to follow these guidelines. Now, as I've said before, you want to have the rubric open. So, this is your checklist. Your journal assignment should be 3 to 4 paragraphs. Use 2 credible sources. So, you're selecting an issue that has personal relevance to you. So, like in your introduction, you talk about what the issue is, why is it a pressing issue to you and your community, and what has been the impact to your area from this issue. Um, so that's your journal assignment, but let's look at how this relates to your milestones, because this is kind of like the backbone to your milestone project. So getting out of the announcements here, we're going to go to the modules. So your first milestone is going to be in Module 3 with description of the environmental issue. Now, if you've done a really good job on your journal issue, journal assignment, this will kind of be mostly done. So when you go to the document, so just waiting for it to upload. And I'm sorry if you hear my children in the background. Okay, so this worksheet will help you. You'll be filling this out when you do your milestone. So see right here, identify the local environmental issue you have chosen and briefly describe its impact on the environment on a global level. So you already kind of did that in your journal assignment. If let's just say that you picked, water pollution. So you would say, water pollution is a problem globally because we're going through droughts, or we're polluting, humans pollute the water no matter where we go. Also state specifically what human activities cause the problem. So you pause there for a second to tell my kids to be quiet. So we're talking about, let's say you chose the environmental issue of water pollution. You'd state what's, how does it impact on a global level, and then what human activities are causing the problem. Then you talk about, what is happening in your local community, which you already, did that in your journal assignment. So like this part, you essentially, if you made a good grade on that, you can just copy and paste it. Then we get into the ecological processes, which I will talk to you about that more when we get closer to Module 3. But basically, an ecological process, there's 4 of them, and you have to find an issue whenever you're doing your issues, like how is it affecting like certain cycles in nature. So is it affecting the carbon cycle? Like, for instance, climate change is affecting the carbon cycle by putting too much CO2 into the atmosphere. Deforestation affects the carbon cycle because you're chopping down the trees and now more carbon's being released. As far as like water or air pollution, those all affect kind of like nutrient cycles that happen in nature. So, I mean, anything you pick is going to impact the ecological process. You'll just have to identify it. It would be smart for you to, whenever you choose your issue, to kind of go ahead and preemptively look at ecological processes that it's impacting, because what ends up happening is that if you choose something that's really weird, it may not be impacting an ecological process. So like, for instance, I had a student choose like overpopulation of lionfish in Florida, and he had a really hard time with this. We had to kind of work together on this one because it was just kind of random. And it did identify like the community of the fish and kind of the energy flow of that ecosystem. It was just hard for him to find that. But if you struggle with that, you can always reach out to me and we can discuss it. So that's that's your journal assignment. That's also looking ahead to milestone 1. So that way you're kind of aware of some of the things that you should consider before you complete your journal assignment. So if you have any questions, just reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you. And yeah, I hope this is helpful.